Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
From the dawn of time, humanity has sought to understand the mysteries of consciousness, the unseen forces shaping who we are and who we might become. Today on Mission Evolution, we journey deep into the subconscious with Laurie McDonald, certified hypnotherapist and founder of True You Hypnotherapy. Laura helps individuals uncover hidden truths, reclaim personal sovereignty, and integrate experiences that transcend ordinary understanding, including contact phenomenon, trauma recovery, and spiritual awakening. Join us as we explore how hypnosis may be the key to remembering who we truly are, right here on Mission Evolution with your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Laurie, thanks for joining us on Mission Evolution.
Very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to have you. So, Laurie, what inspired you to create your True Hypnotherapy?
Well, I've been a clinical hypnotherapist for 30 years, and I felt that I was on track actually to be a psychologist. I went to a hypnotherapy session and realized in that moment that the access into the subconscious mind, where programs are created, where we draw the majority of our beta brainwave awakening information from, that we could in fact become the architect or create a template into the subconscious, creating the life that we wish or choose to live. That we don't have to follow any program, that we can in fact master the self.
How did you first become interested in hypnosis as a tool for personal transformation and healing?
Probably it was around 1993. It's been about 30 years or so. And I'm astounded still today when I see the effects of integration of the psyche, and then a person tapping into the multidimensional aspect of the human soul, when they begin to understand the definition of the word human, that in fact the word human is a definition for the type of entity that we are, as hue is the word we use to measure the density or saturation of light or photons. And man comes from the word manifestation, which means to come into the physical or to be embodied. A human is a light embodied being. Race and gender are subcategories of that spiritual definition of the type of entity that we are. When we incorporate this into our consciousness, a natural expansion begins to unfold. We see that the soul or the consciousness moves out of the body, whether it's an out-of-body experience, a near-death experience, astral travel, some levels of remote viewing, or even high meditation. And I mean high meditation as in, say, maybe I myself have been over 50 years as a meditator. I started when I was about 12. During that time, levels of meditation progress, and it gets to a point where we're not seeking bliss, but we become active in the co-creation of the energy we not only resonate with or seek, but wish to manifest into actualization.
So let's back up a little. What exactly is hypnotherapy?
So hypnotherapy is a therapeutic tool that allows us to access the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind falls under the category of your alpha brainwaves. The alpha brainwaves' job is to act as a receiver. That's it. It has no critical thinking ability. It doesn't care if something is true, not true, real, not real. It doesn't have any discernment ability. It is a receiver that takes information based on the emotional impact creates neurotransmitters, neural pathways into higher or coalesced information that we draw from for our daily life. So when we access this, not only can we input, therefore becoming the architect, widening the pool that we want to draw from, but we can also desensitize trauma or heighten the awareness. Lately, some of my more fun work is in the exploration of simulated out-of-body experiences. And we can do this by simply guiding the consciousness out of the body.
How does the subconscious mind influence our daily decisions, fears, and even relationships?
Well, okay, so the subconscious mind absolutely influences all of those things. Because it's drawing from patterns. So you had to learn to walk. That created a pattern. You don't have to consciously think left, right as you move your leg. That's a subconscious understanding. And unconscious, you don't have to program that. It's already laid. Well, there are many laid programs from the way we walk, talk, represent ourselves, and how we behave in relationships to how we expect to be treated. And so in understanding our ability to see that the subconscious mind is simply accumulation of both memory and pattern that we draw from, up to, well, some say 80, some say 90% of our daily is coming from the subconscious mind, which means only 10% are active free thoughts. Everything else is automatic or repetitious, but subconscious mind loves repetition. That's how it creates programs. But as far as relationship goes, when a person suffers trauma in their childhood, if they weren't nourished, nurtured, and guided into their full potential, if the message that they received was less than, then that adult will always behave on that fundamental program that was developed during, say, the first 8 years of our life. That's our core value. It's our belief system, and it's how we see ourselves. It changes as other patterns develop, but when we're in crisis or there's trauma, we go back to that level of insecurity and fear and not understanding our equality. And therefore, the root chakra, which is where the inner child lives or where the child development lives, becomes activated. So the inner child now is literally the one engaged in your relationships, because if you're insecure, if you're jealous, if you don't feel fully recognized, those are subconscious beliefs that stem from childhood. We shift the root chakra energy into acceptance and love, and then development. Listen, things are the way they are. We simply accept them. You cannot change what you cannot accept. We accept what they are without judgment, embrace it, and take empowered steps towards the actualization that we have the right to create. We're powerful creators when allowed.
Well, it's about time for us to take a station break. And Laurie and I will return very shortly. So please don't go away. This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. Have you been abducted? Are you sure? With us this hour discussing recovering from memories is Laurie McDonald, certified hypnotherapist and founder of True You Hypnotherapy. Laurie, you work with individuals who experience contact abduction phenomenon. How does hypnotherapy help with that?
Well, same. We access either blocked memory, uh, access a screened memory, but primarily what we do is first off, we determine that it's a legitimate contact. Not everybody who thinks they've been abducted by aliens has been abducted by aliens. Sometimes there's drug, alcohol, or other external influences. So obviously, after going through the appropriate steps, we do want to make sure that, we're dealing with somebody who can handle that higher experience. Because when you have face to face, eye to eye contact with a non human being, your reality changes that day. And your reality has to either expand or revert. It's up to the human. But we do access those memories from a distance. We create space within the consciousness so they're not reliving. We don't want to re-traumatize. We want to be able to view it from a higher perspective and then sort of get like a 360-degree view within the subconscious mind so that we can ignite other senses, such as the olfactory sense is extremely connected to memory. And extraterrestrials have a particular scent. That scent that they can describe to me will help me identify which entity they are dealing with. Because some of my work has been in psychologically profiling like the eyewitnesses of these events so that we can understand some level of agenda from the extraterrestrial involved. So it is rather complicated, but we want to make sure that the human is safe, can view it, and decide to either take steps to evolve, to understand it. But at the end of the day, really what it does is it allows them to see that, one, we're floating in space. We're not on the ground, some illusion that people have. We're floating in space, the plethora of other electromagnetic energies, creating a very specific biosphere for the human to evolve within. Extraterrestrials who do visit the Earth and have interaction with the humans haven't always been forthright, and sometimes their actions are nefarious. And so we have to really understand that the human involved has to take uh, power, their power back within the situation and alleviate any and all fear. The truth is, there is a hierarchy of extraterrestrials. The human is not at all at the bottom. Every extraterrestrial that's been interested in the humans has one thing in common: they're interested in the humans. Why is that? It's because we're powerful co-creators. We have this great ability to either tap into hidden human reserves of psychic energy, to become telepathic, which is really kind of what they fear. So it's really not all about the extraction of particular DNA for a hybridization program, although that does happen, and that's within the gray phenomena. But because there are different experiences, each and every case is handled on a unique level based on their psychological profile, what they can handle, and whether or not they're a lifelong experiencer or if it's a one-off, which was just opportunistic for the ET involved.
It sounds like you've seen quite a few cases. Do you have any idea how many?
Thousands.
Hmm, interesting. So do you ensure clients are not influenced or led during a session? And how do you do
Absolutely.
so?
What good would that do? It's a common question. I get that often. So, leading, it's more of a stage hypnosis thing, or maybe a hypnotherapist who is inexperienced and is trying to get to something. I'm simply a guide helping them tap into what's already there. I don't care if their experience was with grays or if they substituted grays within their psyche to protect themselves from some other trauma, and that's how they related to it. I'm not invested in the outcome. So leading would only interfere with our research, and we wouldn't be able to really understand the effects that it has on the consciousness of the humans after said contact. And there are multiple levels of contact too. So let's be clear, there is abduction being taken against one's desire or will. There are people who receive what they say are extraterrestrial downloads, where streams of information move into your consciousness outside of your will again, and you can't stop them. And they do have an emotional impact. But I'm going to be honest and say that the jury, my jury, is still out on whether or not that's actually extraterrestrial. Because when you look at 21st century technology, we have psychotronics, radionics, synthetic telepathy, all of these advanced electronics that can tap into your electromagnetic field, which is unique unto you, just like you have a fingerprint, you have an electronic signature. Tap into that and manipulate it via sound waves or optical illusion. You can hear voices in your head. They can sound like yours or they can sound like something else. We have the technology to do that. We've been using it openly in war since 2008. So we have to be able to be very clear when we're saying, oh, I hear voices in my head, that it's not electronic stimulation, that it's not schizophrenia, that it's not some other mental illness or auditory hallucinations, which also exist for other reasons. So there's a lot of deciphering before we can get to the truth, but the truth is extremely important. And at the end of the day, and after thousands of cases, something's going on. And there are definitely legitimate visitations and legitimate abductions. And there is levels of acceptable evidence, not necessarily empirical, but we have had, and I possess MRIs that show artifacts where there's no entry or exit wound in the brain. And I have MRIs of what look like extraterrestrial implants because they are unidentifiable thus far. And extraterrestrial implants have been removed. This isn't anything new. We've all heard about that. They act very much like a RFID chip, which means that it is able to be manipulated from a distance.
So how do they remove these?
Surgically,
Yikes.
uh,
Okay.
surgically, and not in the brain, obviously. But other places they can be removed surgically. There are organizations out there that can help lead you in the right directions. One of those organizations is Opus, OPUS. I'm the former president of Opus. It's a nonprofit organization. It's been around for a long time, has a huge board of professionals, doctors, lawyers, who work with people in resources or even analyzing particular evidence.
So how would a person know if they had an implant?
Well, actually, so what some people do is they'll run a high-powered magnet over the area where they suspect it, and if the skin starts lifting up, okay, there's a metallic object, doesn't necessarily indicate it's extraterrestrial. Don't want to jump to anything, but it could be shrapnel, could be something else in there, right? There are other ways, but most of the time people know. So there was a gentleman.
I'm sorry. We're gonna pick up on that on the other side of yet another station break. Laurie and I will be right back to continue our discussion. Please stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org.
Are you ready for a tale that will leave you on the edge of your seat? Get ready to dive into the gripping memoir by Bart Sibrel titled Moon Man. Bart Sibrel takes you on a heart-pounding journey, unmasking the truth behind America's famous Apollo missions. Prepare yourself for hair-raising encounters with agents from the U.S. government's top-secret agencies. In Moonman, Sibrel fearlessly reveals his real-life espionage adventures, shining a light on one of the CIA's best-kept secrets. Brace yourself for shocking revelations, including Sibrel's discovery of privately recorded audio exposing an Apollo astronaut's chilling plot, a plot orchestrated by the CIA. That's right. As Sibrel unveils this groundbreaking evidence, it becomes clear that there is much more to the Apollo missions than meets the eye. Could it be that we've been deceived all along? Moonman is a gripping page-turner that challenges everything you thought you knew. It's a mind-bending journey into the unknown, where the line between truth and fiction becomes blurred. Don't miss this opportunity to uncover the secrets hidden for decades. Let your curiosity guide you as you join Bart Sibrel on his quest to find the truth. Moonman, available now at Sibrel.com. That's Sibrel.com. Prepare to have your beliefs shaken to the very core.
Is seeing believing, or is believing seeing? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. With us discussing the power of hypnotherapy is certified hypnotherapist Laurie McDonald. Laurie, what role does belief have to play in the success of a hypnotherapy session?
I'm sorry, what does world belief? Is that what you said?
No, what role does belief have
Oh,
to play? Mhm.
well, belief is everything. I mean, you know, you have to allow the hypnotherapy process and you have to believe that it's going to work for you. If a client or subject is resistant, say somebody sent their husband to me and he didn't really want to come, but they're sick and tired of him smoking or snoring or overeating or whatever issue we're going to deal with. If he doesn't want to do it, doesn't matter. If he doesn't believe it, he's going to resist it. Belief is very important. Our What we believe actually influences every aspect of our life outside of hypnotherapy. So our beliefs rule our thought process.
So believing is seeing.
I'll tell you, if you see something outside of the ordinary and you give your consciousness enough time to adapt, process, and come to some type of conclusion as to what it is that you're seeing, then you are going to believe it and you are going to accept it. Again, subconscious doesn't care if it's true or not true. It has no judgment. So, like, for instance, if you're dreaming, okay, you're in the subconscious, you can't create a face in your dream. You would have had to have seen that, whether in a book, movie, a TV show, a commercial, in the back of a cereal box. I don't care where it is. Has no creative ability. Okay, that's strictly the beta brain wave. And that's the one that we're communicating in right now. That's higher discernment, critical thinking.
How can hypnotherapy support individuals struggling with anxiety, addiction, self-sabotage?
You know, I am split right down the line with mega normal extraterrestrial cases, and the rest are very much your everyday issues of stress and anxiety. I believe that all healing, all growth, all ability begins with our own ability to relax. Once you can relax, once you can settle in and settle down, once you begin to breathe into the mind and body the correct way, everybody breathes up here. That's not right. Okay. It's far too shallow. We want to have longer, deeper breaths to oxygenate the body. We want to activate the brain. We absolutely want to begin to relax because relaxation promotes healing. And we have to be able to relax to begin anything. have any results in anything. You can't do anything if you're stressed out or anxious. So learning how to relax and learning how to relax the body by moving the consciousness into a particular part of the body, developing your control, seeing what you're already able to do really will help people wash that unnecessary stress and anxiety. There is a time for everything. There are exercises in checking in with the self to see if you should be stressed out. Working with the solar plexus, which is extremely sensitive to energy. Some people believe it's the first brain. What it actually is are two fist-sized clusters of nerves under the rib cage, but above the navel, antennas out into the environment where you will receive unspoken information, and you'll get either butterflies, that's because the nerve endings are all a twitter, or you'll get a punch. This is a solar plexus. So if you can work with the solar plexus, you can act using the hands, placing them on the solar plexus, breathing into it. You simply ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Just sit with it, whatever it is. Let it vessel or everly vested up into the mind, wrong word there, oops. Let it roll up into the mind and really have an opportunity to look at what you're afraid of. Just be honest with yourself. What am I afraid of? Then ask yourself, is it a real fear or an imagined fear? If it sounds like, what if this happens? That happened before, then it's imagined. It is not real. And you must learn how to disengage and redirect your emotional energy. We have the ability to learn these techniques. We teach them, and I teach them in hypnotherapy. And once a person learns that and they begin checking in with themselves, you're working with the body. We're not just the mind, and pretty much you see how the body follows stress from every major disease to insecurity. Stress is a killer.
Are there specific techniques, now that you're talking about techniques, you use to help people reconnect with our authentic self, say, for instance?
Yeah, so we have to, remove a lot of layers of belief to find the true self. But the true self might be different the next day. And it's fluid, as it should be. Our consciousness is fluid. When we are outside of the body, there is a fluidity of thought that allows us to have great expansive ideas and beliefs. When we allow that fluidity of thought, we're really taking control, mastering the mind body. The true self then feels safe enough to emerge into the world. We've quieted the inner saboteur. We've recognized the inner observer and have questioned the inner observer. We've listened to the inner judge. Whose voice is that? Who's that critical voice in there saying you're not good enough? You can't do this. You'll never make it. Whose voice is that? Is that really yours? I'm going to say absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the authentic self is empowered. In a truly empowered being, it is not empowerment isn't this sense of force. True empowerment actually generates deep feelings of inner peace, self-acceptance. You don't think you're better than anybody else. You allow somebody to be different. You see the equality. What you believe doesn't affect what I believe if it's different. And I'm secure enough to allow you to have your beliefs. That's empowerment. That's where the true self now is acting. Because the true self feels safe enough to emerge into the world. All aspects of the psyche are integrated, they're aligned. That alignment creates illumination. We're enlightened, we're empowered, and we're living the life that we choose to live, incorporating the highest human frequency, emotional energy, non-judgment, love, acceptance, true mercy and pity for the plight of another, where you want to desperately raise everyone to a higher level of understanding so they can accept themselves and really make our world the beautiful place that it is. And until the people really can unite and accept themselves, how on earth can we accept each other when most people can't even accept themselves? So there's that level of integration, which is extremely important.
Tell us about past life regression and how it differs from normal hypnotherapy.
Well, past life regression is moving out of the subconscious into the superconscious, into the soul memory, so that we can see. I like to take people to the close to the end of their past life so that they can see what lessons they wished they would have learned, therefore will know what they're bringing forward, and that will affect their life. So yeah, we're using the higher consciousness when we do both in between lives, a past life or a future life.
Well,
Time is
it's time for us to take another
oh,
station break. Please stay with us as Laurie and I continue to explore unseen levels of consciousness. This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Boomy.
Is this ethical? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Laurie McDonald. Laurie, what ethical guidelines should a responsible hypnotherapist follow?
All the same guidelines that any therapist would follow. We're HIPAA required, like everybody else. We have to do continuous education, but really it's about the education. And let me talk on that for a moment, because yeah, there are clinical hypnotherapists like myself, as well as being a certified hypnotherapist. There's a lot of people out there running around saying they're hypnotherapists because they've done some weekend course and they have a certificate. I highly recommend that you look into the credentials of your hypnotherapist and the experience that they have, read their reviews online, and make sure that you're going to deal with somebody who is absolutely knows what they're doing, because you don't want to lead, like you said earlier, or input misinformation, seeding. When we are working in the subconscious for behavioral modification or addiction work, we're seeding, we're planting seeds for growth. Like I said earlier, the subconscious mind likes repetition. So the more it hears something over and over, or the more something is spelled out over and over, the deeper it ingrains into the subconscious so that it has easier access to the conscious mind. We can do it to ourselves, but we also have to be aware that people are hypnotized quite often outside of their conscious awareness. I think it was around 1994, there was about 14% of subliminal advertising was allowed in media, both print and what was analog at the time. When we switched over to digital, they didn't change anything. Now, the amount of subliminal advertising, we couldn't even be able to tell because of how fast all of everything is digitized. But information is being seeped into our unconscious mind, into the subconscious, creating beliefs outside of our will. It's more important now than ever before to know your own mind, to know your true self, to recognize your voice, and to take those steps towards healing so that you can be the most authentic person that you can be, therefore able to hit your potential in the world.
How does your work align with or expand on the understanding of human evolution and consciousness?
Well, I mean, the consciousness is all there, right? It's the little human inside that moves into that higher flow of consciousness. Our consciousness is so incredibly large, maybe as big as the universe, that we literally have to break our brain into alpha, beta, theta, delta, gamma brain waves in order for our consciousness to seep through it. We are only manifested into the human body. We are very limited in what is really out there. We're here for a reason. There are things that all humans have in common that they have to move towards, which is evolution. And that evolution is moving into fourth dimensional consciousness thinking and understanding, which means we have to learn to master the third dimension. The third dimension is dualistic in nature. And we have to begin to bring that into a higher understanding, which really means using those higher frequency emotions again. All that excess baggage, all of that stuff is going to bring you back into the third dimension at the time of your death. We don't want that. The way for the human is to move into fourth, then fifth, into higher dimensions as we continue to expand. That is the evolution of our consciousness. But until we learn to master the emotional energy, we can't move into the fourth dimension, let's just say insecure. We can't move there with a bunch of baggage, hating our parents, because we had a crappy childhood. Guess what? You're not a child anymore. Once you're an adult, you get to choose every single moment, every single day, what you're going to learn and how you're going to be in the world and who you're going to forgive and who you're going to allow to take your power. I say, take your own power and develop it to the highest level. Hypnotherapy can guide you into the highest of spiritual understanding through non-judgment. It will move the layers of doubt and pain and addiction, overeating, so that true self, which is in every single person, it's that beautiful light that you see radiate from the humans. It's in every one. Well, I've seen a few didn't have it, but it's in almost every single one of us, right? And they have this great ability to step on that path of self-mastery.
What have you learned about the connection between trauma, memory, and multidimensional awareness?
Well, okay, so trauma certainly can affect your memory. If you can block trauma, you can rewrite it, and so you're not remembering it exactly how it happened. So trauma actually can affect your memory because it pushes a person into a place of inability to respond. Because, okay, just say on a worst case scenario, sexual molestation happens to a young girl, an innocent, right? This is outside of their power, outside of their physical strength, outside of their education, outside of their awareness. And so when something happens like that, the mind slams against a wall and it doesn't know what to do. And so that wall begins to encompass that memory and it can block it. And so we have to, piece by piece, create safety, self-love, and allow the person to begin to see that it can affect memory. But now at the same time, our memory is affected by many things. That's very important to understand our minds right now. Now, you said trauma, memory, and what was the third? Consciousness?
Yes, multidimensional awareness.
So, yeah, now there have been people who have been so traumatized that they move outside of awareness, and we call that disassociation. All right. It's not well, it's multidimensional, but not the dimensions we want to go to. Okay. The multidimensional awareness that I like to speak of is the spiritual awareness of the etheric aspect of the human, the soul outside of the body. Okay. So we want to heal our trauma, because trauma can shape our beliefs and make us either fear-based, which now will never allow the true self to emerge, or it'll prevent us from living the life that we meant, and will certainly prevent us from hitting our potential.
Well, before we're out of time, Laurie, I have to ask you, what's your mission?
Ah, you know, I feel so deeply for the humans that if I could do anything, I would create a musical note that would raise the consciousness of all humans into a place of peace and productivity. And whatever I can do on a one-to-one basis, or the spiritual retreats that I do, that's more than one person, obviously. I am trying to heal the walking wounded of the world, so that they can take those empowered steps into the authentic self, and to live in a beautiful world that we can create.
Well, unfortunately, Laura, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Mission Evolution with host Gwilda Wiyaka and guest Laurie McDonald, founder of True You Hypnotherapy. For more information about Laurie's work, visit trueyouhypnotherapy.com. To explore past episodes, guest archives, and spiritual resources that bridge science and spirit, visit missionevolution.org. But be sure to join us right here next time as this mission continues, bringing information, resources, and support to an evolving world as we uncover the deeper story of human evolution, one soul at a time.